body that a lot of people don't know. Your heart rate increases about a minute before partaking in exercise. It is known as the anticipatory rise and happens involuntarily. Edit, my very first gold, thank you. This is absolutely fascinating because I've learned about something called anticipated compensatory conditioned response, and that's quite literally the opposite of that. It's so cool seeing how your body can automatically perform two opposite counteractions in their appropriate times. Till the work/home transition has an actual badass scientific name. I'm sure that'd be true if I ever got any exercise. Some people will cough if they put something in one ear. A very small percentage will cough if something is in either ear. It is called Arnold's ear cough reflex. I always cough when I Q-tip out my ears. I thought that happened for everyone. When I swab it out, I can feel the tickle way deep in my throat. I don't cough, but I always feel a tickle in my throat when something is in my ear. I thought it was normal. This makes so much sense. I always told my BF I hated cleaning my ears BC it made me cough, and he thought I was absolutely batshit. After all these years I finally have answers. If we were an RPG character, our main stat would be endurance. We are, by animal standards, hellishly undying and unrelenting terrors, these Terminator-esque nightmares that just do not stop. So ancestrally we are persistence hunters. That is, our main tactic for catching prey without fancy weapons was to just run them down, especially in our way back home of the African desert. You can still see it, all over the human body. We are nearly hairless. This lack of insulation means better heat dissipation. We have a ton of sweat glands, next to other mammals. Again, heat dissipation. Another one is our two-legged gait. Walking for us is technically just a series of controlled falls. We let gravity do half the work, and as a result use up fewer resources and generate less heat. Quadrupeds, on the other hand, have to do more work with more legs. I mean, imagine being a more or less gazelle of 500,000 years ago. You're eating, doing your thing, when this predator arrives, so you run off. Now most predators, they'll only chase for a short distance and then call it a day. Watch cats, for instance. But this one, here he is again. So you run. He returns. You run again. He returns. You're getting hot, you have to stop and pant to lose heat, but he just keeps jogging. You run. He keeps coming. You're tired, you're fast, but not for very long, and this stretches your limits. Eventually you just lay there, exhausted and heat-stunned, and this ludicrous hairless monkey just jogs on over and kills you. That's our claws, our sharp teeth, even without our technology and tool making. We simply don't stop. Edit, dang, I went and did something frivolous like go to bed and this got popular. Right, the popular complaints, I did ignore int. I guess I took the phrase human body in the question a little too literally. Humans would first and foremost be intelligent social animals. And my source, in all honesty, I started with Born to Run. It looks like there is some element of debate on this point, but this is real debate, not vaccines cause autism style debate. There's been some proper study on the topic, and I found some papers on the topic, like this one. But yeah, I focused on this because it's not so common knowledge as our tools and intelligence, and still pretty cool /. As someone who can't even run a block, I feel I have let my superhuman ancestors down tremendously. They didn't jog after them like he's saying, dude. That was way over-exaggerated. In reality, we just walked and tracked them for days until they couldn't evade us any longer. The fact that we have hands to carry water meant that this wasn't that difficult. So we just kept walking and tracking, and eventually they couldn't keep going like we could. They didn't have time to graze or get sleep, because all they worried about was this predator that kept coming. They couldn't graze or look for water, they just moved until they dropped from exhaustion and we casually strolled up and Bob's your uncle. There's also a lot of evidence, and AA tactic still practiced in some parts of Africa to this day, where hunters would just get together and calmly walk towards a lion's kill together. The lions are so taken aback that they scatter. For a moment. Just long enough to cut off some meat before the lions wise up. Ballsy, but apparently it's all about being confident. Edit, example of some of said ballsy fuckers. Actually, if we look at the San people, their elite hunters do actually jog after their prey. Jogging for up to 10 hours until the prey just collapses from exhaustion. Many animals could keep up if it was just a walking pace, but once jogging comes into, or even combining walking some distances and a slow run for others, an endurance runner can run any other animal on earth into the ground, unless it happens to be very cold, then canids like wolves can outpace us, even over long distances. Just to clarify, we don't run for a long distance, we jog or walk for a long distance. The animals we chase are rarely endurance creatures, they are fast creatures. They can travel a short distance really quickly, but moderate to long distances are beyond them, they need to rest. Edit, I think I should clear up that we don't move slowly when chasing a creature, we just don't sprint. The biggest example of this is going for a walk/run with your dog. Your dog will get tired far faster than you will, assuming you're not horrendously out of shape, but they are much faster than you. I mean shit. Humans run marathons for fun. Yet I chased down a friend's dog I was looking after that got out. I eventually caught up with it when it lay down and refused to move. I had to carry the fucker home. You're fitter than you think. I recently did a walking holiday and the body can go for many kilometers. Endurance is part of why zombies are such a universally terrifying concept. Of all the monsters we've created, they're the only ones that can outhuman us. For all our endurance, they have more. Add to that an unending hunger and ability to wear down any barrier given enough time, and they are to us what we are to other animals. Pretty telling when one of the things you fear most is your own species, dialed up to 11. I once read a while ago that the idea of zombies is just something hunting humans the way we hunt everything else. Zombies do not tire, like you pointed out. Zombies do not get slowed down by injuries to anything but the head. Humans are very resilient when it comes to injuries. A wolf with a broken leg is likely dead, but a human with a broken leg may live to hunt another day. Zombies hunt in packs, humans hunted in large groups. We are nearly hairless. Laughs in Middle Eastern. You mostly breathe out of one nostril at a time, and the dominant nostril switches every hour or so. Wait, so this is normal? Well damn, I just thought I always had some level of cold. It's not supposed to be noticeable, check for dust allergy or fucked up sinuses. I'm very aware of which nostril I can breathe through, but it's because the allergy does mean it's essentially a constant cold. Edit, as people note, it's chronic allergic rhinitis which causes constant blocked nose from say dust allergy. In addition to that, a deviated septum can lead to inflammations and difficulties breathing. I have both, yay. I discovered this accidentally as a kid and then spent weeks believing I was dying because I only ever breathed with one nostril. Well, technically you were right about the dying part. Your hands and feet alone account for more than half of all the bones in your body, 106/206. Gotta point out you're including the wrists and ankles in that count. Archaeologist here. You can give birth after you've died. Occasionally we will come across a really confronting burial where the skeleton of an unborn child is halfway through its mother's pelvis. Generally what happens is the woman has died before giving birth, and after burial a buildup of gases from decomposition forces the baby out. We refer to this as coffin birth. R/thanks, I hate it. On the other hand, I think coffin birth sounds like the name of my next metal band, Sign of the Horns. Edit, I'm being told R/he is more better. And silver? You shouldn't have. Thank you, smiley face. Cutting the corpus callosum, connects two brain hemispheres, can produce some freaky results. Such as your hand doing shit that your conscious mind isn't aware of, writing a sentence or scratching an itch without knowing, for instance. I saw a program back in the dark ages when I was a kid. It was all about the brain. One of the things they talked about was that procedure. They had a guy they were testing. One hand did better with creative things, the other did better with logic. At one point they were trying to get him to do something with the hand that didn't have an easier time with it. I think it was something like stacking blocks. He wasn't supposed to use the hand that could do it better, but as if the hand had a mind of its own, it kept interjection itself, and at one point literally grabbed the hand having a problem and moved it out of the way in obvious frustration. Edit: the user Killer Bake found the bit of the program I saw and posted a link. My son has hypoplasia of the corpus callosum, and even since he was a baby, he's 11 now, when he tries to grasp something or use his hands for anything, he will immobilize one arm to use the other. In therapy we worked on getting him to use both hands together, but while one hand might be reaching for a toy, the other hand would knock the toy off his table or throw it. He would get so frustrated and start yelling, he is nonverbal, and flailing both arms around. We have to be careful to keep an eye on him, because another thing that goes with this defect is he has a high tolerance for pain. So he might wedge one arm between his wheelchair armrests so hard that it's cutting off the circulation but not show any signs of discomfort. He has a medical bed with tall wooden slats around it, and he will stick one arm through a slot and get it stuck on purpose. Sometimes I think he would prefer to amputate arm and is actively attempting to kill the mischievous arm. Brains are weird. Brains really are weird. The same program showed some animals that had the bit that keeps them from acting out dreams cut. That was freaky. I can't imagine how frustrating that would be for your son. As a mom, it must be upsetting for you to not be able to just fix things for him. I hope you have a good support system. I remember watching a video about this sort of experiment way back when I took intro psych as an elective. With one guy, they asked what he wanted to be when he grew up, and gave each hand a pen. One side wanted to be a doctor, or something similar, it's been years so I drew, while the other wanted to be a race car driver. Some people were put in front of a screen with a divider in front of their face, so each eye was blind to whatever was going on the other side of the body. Then they did exercises with a pen in each hand. And then, for example, if the screen said to draw a toadstool, one half might draw an actual toadstool and the other might draw a toad and a stool. They found some really interesting quirks. Makes me wonder if those people might have conversations between the halves of their brain, communicating through writing or something, since they aren't physically linked to transmit info anymore. As far as I know, they still sever the corpus callosum in some cases of severe epilepsy, to help prevent a seizure from doing damage across both hemispheres. Video here courtesy of you/KillerBake. You know the smell of rain, or disturbed soil? It's a compound produced by bacteria called geosmin, and the human nose is extremely sensitive to it. We can smell it at as low a concentration as 5 parts per trillion. Edit: sorry for my confusing wording, the compound is called geosmin, not the bacteria. We can smell rain better than sharks can smell blood. I actually just learned about this. There is a podcast from Stuff You Should Know that goes over all this info. The smell of rain. And I love both those smells. We have an internal regulator that prevents us from using our full strength. Our muscles usually only work at about 60% max of what we are capable of. In extreme life and death situations, these regulators stop and we are able to use our full strength. This is how the parts where people tipped over cars and similar come from. These regulators are because at full strength we heavily damage our bodies. Essentially, you could lift something to the point where it is either lifted or your arm just breaks instead. I believe there has also been someone who ran so hard his leg broke. TFW, the 8 gates are real. BRB, gonna train my entire life to open them. Unexpected but appreciated reference. I'm pretty sure it's only 60% for peak athletes. If I remember correctly, Hysterical strength in extreme situations is because humans are unique in that we have a huge number of slow twitch muscle fibers and not many fast twitch in comparison to other animals. However, humans have a unique advantage from this, because from some gamble nature took, our slow twitch fibers respond far more to adrenaline, plus more chemicals, and allow them to contract as fast or even faster than fast twitch fibers. In fact, I believe humans are the only creatures that have the ability to utilize this rush of chemicals to such the degree that we do, what we refer to as an adrenaline rush. As a result, we get our hysterical strength from a combination of this effect of a surge of adrenaline, combined with our body letting us use all our muscle fibers in a single contraction, whereas normally we recruit maybe 20 to 40%, a trade-off for our fine motor skills. So once we have this, we're suddenly a literal order of magnitude stronger. The best part about this, slow twitch fibers produce far more energy than fast twitch fibers, and this is where we get our stamina from. Fast twitch fibers normally produce more per second, but with our normal regulators turned off, it lets the slow twitch fibers match and exceed that production and be far more efficient. When you see stories of a chimp mauling a fully grown man, it's because they're fighting with everything they've got and the man hasn't had a chance to even utilize his full strength. As if he had, that chimp is going to feel a crash course on why humans are the apex predator. Something like a gorilla or bear will obviously still beat the life out of a human, but when we have this hysterical strength, we at least have the ability to hit hard enough to make them feel something and flee. Heh, not bad, kid. You nearly made me use 20% of my power. Women are actually programmed to forget the pain of childbirth after a few months or so. If this didn't happen, most women would only end up having one child, which would eventually lower the population. It's all those goddamn hormones. I vividly remember how awful contractions were. It's like a Charlie horse around your entire torso, every few minutes. You can't make it stop, and once it eases up, you know it's just going to happen again and again and again. And I remember thinking as I pushed this melon-headed baby out of my vagina that I'd rather have the contractions. Those weren't as painful, but I don't actually remember the pain of the birth itself. It's so weird. I remember the nurse telling me while the baby was crowning they call this part the ring of fire, and absolutely wanting to throat punch her. Holy shit, what a terrible thing to say at that moment. Optimal human circadian rhythm is actually closer to 25 hours than 24 in experiments depriving people of sunlight and other triggers that maintain your circadian rhythm. Edit, for a more detailed and accurate explanation of circadian rhythm. Just a couple 100 million years till the planet slows down to match our sleep cycle. So we're naturally evolved for living on Mars? Apparently so. Nobody knows why. In fact, a lot of the aspects of sleep are a scientific mystery. I thought it was so we could remain awake longer, if needed. Edit, we adjust every night to the 24-hour day, but we have a 25-hour rhythm in the event we need to remain awake for longer than usual, a predator is around. Second edit, enough is enough, people. No more monsters are nearby, gubbins. The human body contains enough fat to make 7 bars of soap. Only 7? Casuals, my body can make at least 15. Only double digits? Cute. Thanks, Fight Club. When we get sunburn, that's not the heat of the sun that's hurting us most of the time, but it's little skin cells killing themselves to protect us from skin cancer. Not so cool if I think about it. Edit. Thank you all for the likes and the silver award. My comment made it in one of Dr. Reddit's videos. I'll try to find the link and send it here. 6:54 is the part I come in. After watching Cells at Work, this makes me panic a little. I'm so sorry, little cells. Every time you get a paper cut, thousands of cute little platelets die. Babies are born without kneecaps, they develop around 2 years. Edit. They have a cartilage-like thing that protects the knees. I've been told so many times that there's still something. Thanks, gonna go punch a baby in the knee now. That was already in your day planner. Natural redheads require increased doses of anesthesia, due to some connection with the mutated melanocortin 1 receptor. I'm a natural redhead myself, and developed a fear of dentists because I'd always feel what they were doing. Eventually I had an issue that couldn't be ignored, and had to find a new dentist. At my first visit he took one look at me, and said, "You're a real redhead, huh?" Yup. Hygienist, get me 4x the Novocaine. I knew I'd found my man, and he's been treating me ever since, also shed my fears, since dental work is much less unpleasant when you're actually numb before they start. Source, in case you think I'm full of it. I had an epidural when I was in labor, 4 hours only. The left side of my body was numb and I could feel the contractions. When I hit 8 centimeters it completely failed and I felt everything. They had to give me a second one because the first one wasn't enough. I am a redhead, my cousin is as well. They had to double dose her for her C-sections because she could still feel everything with her first epidural just like me. I wish more people believed that we need stronger medicine than non-redheads. It isn't because we want it, it's because we need it. True redheads can also bleed more than non-redheads. Source, M or nurse. Scientific name for your thumb is pollex and your big toe is hallux. Not just yours, everybody's. Not mine, mine is named Mr. Thumbness. Mine is named Dave. Vitality. You'd be surprised how much blood you can lose and fully recover reasonably quickly. If it drops below a certain threshold, even if replaced fast, you will appear to recover for a few hours then die of multiple organ failure. Edit, got this in an anatomy book that I was actually reading as distraction while recovering from surgery myself. It just said that if it went low enough, the refill wouldn't solve it. The person would appear to recover well, then have systemic failure and die. Would like confirmation of it, actually. I remember it impressed me at the time. True. But my liver and kidneys have made Olympic status efforts. I'd give them a medal but I can't suture for We are, by cell numbers, more bacteria than human. Germaphobes are crying. Your liver can regenerate, and much faster than you think. I had a quarter of my liver removed, and a month later it was back. Edit, fixed typo think not like. Edit, thanks for the silver, Redditors, my first, smiley face. I don't know that's about exactly as fast as I want my liver to regenerate. Eye immune privilege, your immune system doesn't know your eyes exist. There's a chance that if you get an eye injury or an infection near your eyes the immune system will think your eyes are a foreign body and you'll go blind. Why though? Wouldn't the immune system know that our eyes are a part of our body? That's so weird. Saying it knows or doesn't know is a bit of over-anthropomorphication. The immune system does not have access to the eye as it's too harsh and our eyes are too delicate. They're also self-cleaning so they can handle the normal daily wear and tear. I've had a very severe case of acute anterior uveitis before, and one minor one. You don't want your immune system to notice your eyeballs. No lasting damage but a year of prednisone wasn't fun. But I can say I've had a rare disease now so that's kind of cool. Apparently some peoples in Asia have a bunch of DNA from Denisovians and other hominid people coexisted and interbred with. Do I pronounce it jealousy or racism that I want varied DNA? You can smear my DNA all over your face if you want. Don't you threaten me with a good time. Unless you're from sub-Saharan Africa you have, Caucasians have some Neanderthal DNA for example. Yet I often feel half extinct. Well played.